Hi, everybody. Yeah, I was gonna give you shit for having your mask on.
Hello there.
Hello. Let's give everybody a minute.
Go ahead now.
Carol, what's your doggy's name? Is that a dog or is it a cat? It's a dog, right?
It's
Oh, you're
Betsy.
muted. Aw,
She can't hear you.
so tiny. All right, cool. We'll get started. I guess first, does anybody have any additions to the agenda? Okay, cool. So do we have Gary yet? I don't see Gary. Okay, we'll come back to emergency management. I don't see Gary just yet. Communications, I don't think I have anything in particular. Yeah. Volunteer coordination. So we have our group that meets Friday of the team leads. We're gonna start meeting every other week, and we have an every other week call with kind of all the volunteers. It's just kind of a social thing. So we're just adding 15 minutes before that meeting every 2 weeks, just in case there's anything. But in the meantime, there hasn't been an overwhelming amount of requests or anything. So any kind of one-off projects, like we're talking about contacting seniors to just see how they're doing. We'll just deal with that kind of outside of those calls as a committee. So yeah, I don't think Aaron, am I missing anything there? Yeah, okay. Yes, let's see. Ryan, town, and I know Sarah can't make it. She's on the House floor right now, but she said just to remind everybody to email her legislative email address if you have anything for her, and if we need her, she said she can double Zoom, but I'll leave her alone if we can. Ryan, Bradford updates.
We had our select board meeting last Thursday. We had an interesting talk with representatives from EC Fiber about getting fiber internet to Bradford, as they service all the towns around us as well, which sounds like it might be a couple years out, but at least we're in the running, which would be a game changer for us and everybody if we have to continue to work from home for a while. And we're trying to find the best way to reopen the town offices where it keeps everyone safe and it doesn't open it up to public use. So we're still working on that. I think that is pretty much everything.
Cool. Ted or Carol, do you guys have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, we've had some requests about Elizabeth Park, and unfortunately, we just cannot find a way. Sorry, we just can't find a way to safely reopen the park. You know, the kids, once they start climbing around that castle play area, we just can't keep them apart. You just can't disinfect the pressure treated lumber. So that unfortunately is going to stay closed for a while. As Ryan said, we're looking to reopen the town offices, but the auditorium and the gym will stay closed at least for the foreseeable future. But yeah, that's about it.
Cool, thank you. And we do have a number that joined that I don't recognize. I've been trying to rename everybody. 802-793-7557.
That's me, Gary.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, well, good thing I asked.
I tried to get on the normal way, and it wouldn't let me. It said I had to update to something different.
Okay,
And
yeah, I think
so,
everybody's been suffering that.
I'm trying to update now, but because I'm so far out here, it'll probably take a day.
Yeah, no problem. Gary, do you
I can barely see it move.
Yeah, no problem. We'll go back to emergency management. Did you have anything you wanted to share?
The only thing I got is a request that came in this morning to try to help with housing for the woman and 3 kids that got burned out of the village apartments back in April.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Apparently the money's run out and the sources, I don't know. Carol, are you on?
Yes, I am.
You've dealt with that woman before, right? Or helped? The church came up with some money?
The church helped her the first part of last week, and Capstone had helped her a week or so before that, and they were looking for other funds. I don't know yet if they found any.
Oh, no, I heard from Tina Toll this morning. Said the Red Cross, Capstone, Parent Child Center in Tunbridge, and she mentioned but anyways, if she can't get any word from the village apartments so when it's going to be renovated so they can get back in. Anyways, that's the only thing I have. Tina was hoping that the town had some money, but I don't believe we do. But do we, Ted or Ryan, does the town have any funds or something like that?
I'm afraid not.
No.
That's what
Sorry.
I thought. That's what I thought. That's all I have.
Okay. Thanks, Gary. Let's see. Food access, Ashleen. Oh, is Ashleen on? I guess she's not on. Oh,
Hi,
geez.
I'm on.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yes, I do have a couple food access updates, or one major one. So with the pandemic EBT, I had a couple emails about how to enroll for that. And it's my understanding that you go to the Hunger Free Vermont website, and then they'll direct you to either fill out a form in order to access school meals, and then but that form gets sent actually to the school, so you have to connect back to the school, is my understanding on the website. But also, so some folks did that, they sent their form in and then they weren't seeing the funds, but then the funds came through on the 1st of the month, so there is a delay in the funds. I'm not sure if it's coming through every, like at the beginning of every month, or how that's working, but there may be a delay. And then also the original flyer said you need to apply for this within the month of May, but they have since extended. So to continue to go to the Hunger Free Vermont website, and you can still apply for this if you're a family with children who are on the school lunch program.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashleen. I guess Ramsey or Linda, do you guys happen to know any more about the what Ashleen was wondering about with the whether it's just a first of the month type thing for the PEBT payments?
I don't, but I actually have somebody looking into information on that right now because somebody had inquired. So if I find anything out, I'll send it along.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I don't know anything about it either.
Okay. Ayla, medical?
Hey, yeah, oh, I gotta look in a little bit of an, oh, sorry, hang on.
I think it went away. I think it was Gary.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess a few updates. From Little Rivers, we're restarting some of our behavioral health in-person visits kind of slowly this week and next week. Same with our MAT visits, and group visits are we're starting to have those back slowly. So more in-clinic appointments. Danielle didn't have anything from Clara Martin, and neither did Kate Beaton. I don't know if she's on this call, but I didn't see her earlier. So not a whole lot there. The one thing that was brought up this week, I think a few times by community members, was about antibody screening. Right now, Little River stance is that we're not performing antibody screening unless clinically indicated. So there are some facilities out in Vermont that are offering just screening testing for anybody who's interested in it. And as of right now, due to pretty low specificity on the tests, There's a lot of false positives out there, and so we're not going to be doing that unless, again, clinically indicated. And then the only other thing that we still haven't had any positive tests lately, so that's great. We're averaging about 25 to 30 tests a week right now, and just recently changed the state of Vermont changed the testing policy, something that's a little bit more tolerable, anterior nair testing, which just means basically we're not having to go all the way up to people's brains to obtain the test results anymore. So that's been a positive. But I think that's it. Otherwise, unless Mike or Ashley have anything to add.
Can you share just a little bit more information about the antibody? Like if somebody, like I personally don't really know why, like, yeah, I guess why I would seek that out.
Yeah. So right now it's most useful for epidemiological studies. So for like creation of vaccines and certainly for tracing numbers, but it's really has not been useful in any kind of clinical indication. So I think what a lot of people, so you have people that are being tested again for study purposes, and then you have this other people on the other realm that want to basically just get tested to know if they ever had COVID, because there was question about COVID exposure before the pandemic and the social isolation and kind of everything took off. So there was question about how many people had actually been exposed without realizing it. Patients and community members are interested in that, but again, there's a lot of false positives, so it can make it a bit difficult if you're going to get a test just because you're curious. There's very few clinical indications to actually have the test done from a provider's perspective, because it doesn't change the course of treatment of anything we're doing at the time that people are getting it. What's been difficult, it's being advertised on the news. Places like Clear Choice Medical are doing the testing for anybody who's interested, but again, that they're collecting that data for their own purposes for epi studies. So it's tough. I think more will be unfolding about it, and hopefully we get to a point where we can say anybody who's interested can do it, but right now it's just not useful information, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Mike, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, well, from a behavioral health standpoint, I don't know if I said this last week, but we're seeing increase in suicides lately. We're also seeing an increase of overdoses lately. With the lockdown, people's tolerance has gone down. So just FYI, that there is some negative sides of this whole pandemic from a behavioral health standpoint. But like Ayla said, we are continuing to see people. Clara Martin's continuing to see people. So if folks are struggling out there that hook them up with behavioral health supports, because recovery is achievable from any substance use disorder or mental health disorder. That's all I got.
You guys, I know at the beginning of the pandemic, there was just all those resources from like National Association of Mental Health Providers or something. Like there was a whole bunch of stuff about access to resources and hotlines and stuff like that. Are you guys doing any type of, I haven't really seen any marketing from Little Rivers as far as like make sure your neighbor, like if you know somebody in need who needs to talk to somebody or that kind of thing, are you guys marketing the mental wellness side of things?
I haven't been keeping up with the Facebook page. I know that Ashleen has put the national hotlines on there at times. But I think the crisis call centers that were set up, I know the one that I was a part of in New Hampshire for first responders and frontline workers, that was shut down a couple weeks ago, and I'm not sure about the Vermont one that was set up early on.
Okay, I wonder if it might be worth saying Little Rivers is here to support your your mental well-being if you're having trouble or something. Ashleen, did you have anything you wanted to add from Little Rivers or anything like that?
No.
How has your teen speak been going?
Yeah, that's actually going really well. So I can give a little update about that. We have about 5 teens participating, usually around 4 at a time, and they come from all different school districts. So we have Rivendell, Oxbow, Thetford in attendance, and then they are considering a project for the end of the year, looking into something like a mural that would be transportable and could go to each town and have teens look into that. And Gail Treaty has been on those calls, and she was a part of that discussion. So we're pretty excited. Do you want to add anything about that, Gail? Oh, I think you're muted.
There we go. Sorry. I don't really have anything to add, but it has been, I think it's been really positive for the kids that are involved, and they are very excited, and we're just kind of waiting for them to decide how to, how they want to move forward with it so that they own it, so that they're doing it. It's pretty cool. I'm excited about it. I'm excited for them.
There's definitely money out there for mural projects. So I don't know if you guys already, okay.
I think I know a little bit about some. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And as far as, information going up on Facebook too, maybe I'll connect with Mike about exactly how does the public connect with our behavioral health program, because I know that they don't have to become a patient of Little Rivers in order to do that, but I also don't want our team to get flooded, and Mike might have more ideas about that. We can connect maybe after the meeting.
Yeah, cool.
Ashley, well, I can chat with you afterwards too, Ashley, and I probably checked with Andy. They were scheduled to do a substance use access to behavioral health video this week, I believe, to put on social media to try and just talk about resources and how you get hooked in with behavioral health. So there is something that was planned to go out anyway.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, Ayla.
Let's see, business, financial resources, and I always miss Patty. So note to self, Erin, and then Patty.
I don't have anything,
Okay.
any updates, thank you.
All right, Patty, did you have anything?
Just that we opened up our lobbies on Monday, and people are coming in like they used to, but most of them, if not all, every day have been wearing masks. Like I said last week, we have a sign up. We're encouraging them. We are not forcing them to wear them. We're encouraging them, and we do have a stack of them, disposable ones if they don't and they want to take one. So we're seeing people out and about again. Some people still liking just to go through drive-through, but it's nice to have the option to come in.
Well, along those same. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say along those same lines, as far as businesses reopening and needing masks and that kind of stuff. There's a few community members still that are making masks. So if you have a need, just like let me know, email me or something. But then also something that's come out of we have this like kind of sub-regional call with like 8 to 10 of the different towns directly around us. There's some volunteers in Fairleigh, and I just got an email this morning saying a volunteer made 100 masks that they want to split between Bradford and Fairleigh. So I don't know how many we're gonna get, because they're giving Fairleigh first choice on that. But it is out there. So if there's businesses of, I know Colatina, when they needed masks, we were able to get those in the senior center. So if you have needs for reopening, then just let me know. We'll get you connected.
Monique?
Yeah.
I may be asking for some masks for mentors and mentees.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Marvin, did you have anything? Did you want to share anything from the Bradford Business Association stuff?
Let's see what.
I don't know. Status.
Well, I mean, one thing that we're thinking about somehow doing is using media in some fashion to let the general area or region know that Bradford's open for business. That we've got a lot of our retailers are open, and we've got the lowest fuel prices around. We've got the best cheese selection around, and we've got a lot of stuff going on here. And I think a lot of people have just been hunkered down, and I think we need to do some promotion. So we're really talking about how to do that best, whether it's a separate mailing, or whether it's it's just using listservs or whatever. So it's in the conversation now. If people have ideas, feel free to pass them along to Monique or whomever, me. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Marvin.
Monique.
Yeah.
Monique, can I get back in?
Yeah, totally.
One thing I thought of afterwards, I don't know if people know that the stimulus checks, the $1,200 and or the $2,400, people who didn't get direct deposits were supposed to get checks. And I'm not sure how they decided who was getting checks and who was not, but now they've started sending out debit cards. And I got one, and I know several customers have gotten one, and it looks like a credit card solicitation. It has a Department of Treasury seal, but if you were to look at it quickly, you have to apply, you have to agree to the terms and all this stuff. So we've had customers call, and after they threw them away, they look like credit card solicitations, so people aren't paying attention. So if you know anyone that got them, they are real, and they can go online and transfer the money to an account. But we found out that we can also do cash advances for them at the bank, so it's a whole lot easier. So if you know anyone that got one and not sure what to do with it, they can come into the bank and we can do a cash advance through our cash advance machine here and either deposit it to their account here or give them the money instead of going online. And I had a customer who I called after the fact, and he said it was awful trying to get the online to get it transferred to his account. So if you hear of anyone that gets one and is suspicious, they are legitimate, and we can help them get their money.
Well, thanks, Patty. I did share like some articles when those first were coming out on the like Facebook group. But do you know, is Wells River doing any kind of social media posts about that? Because I could copy and paste that on the listserv too, especially
I'm not
about
sure.
the
I
cash
can ask
advance.
Cassie, but yeah. If you want to send it, I'll forward it to Cassie.
Okay, cool.
It seems like that really should be put on the listservs. You know?
Yeah.
That's there are enough people that are skeptical about stuff they get in the mail, you know. So,
yeah.
Honestly, when I got mine, my husband said, "What is that?" I was like, "It looks like a credit card application. I don't know what it is." So, but they are legit.
Okay. Thanks, Betty.
Yep.
Let's see. Carol Freeman.
Something just came up this morning. The AARP was in the middle of doing taxes for senior citizens when everything got shut down, and there are about 100 people who need to have their taxes done. Connie Filio, who coordinates that program, has gotten approval for a process from AARP to go ahead and start doing the taxes. Vicki called because the senior center had asked if Connie could be there on Tuesdays and Thursdays when no one else is there. And the Council on Aging has so far said that's not going to be possible. So we may need to be looking for another space for Connie to do the taxes. She'd like to start on June 15th. So if someone does know of a space that could be available for them, and I don't know what the space needs to have in terms of requirements for the plan that she set up, but we're going to need to be figuring that out.
Yeah, Carol, if it helps, you could plan on, so the space on Main is going to open on Monday. And I'm not going to market it too broadly. It's mostly I'm telling members right now. But, and I know like Wells River Savings Bank needs it at one point. That whole back room, we could set it up so that like it won't be used. So we could set it up so people can have distance between Connie and them. And we'll be doing disinfectant and checking people for symptoms and stuff like that, if that's helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I will. I just found out about it just before this call, so
sure.
I need to do some figuring out. I asked Vicki to have Connie check with the health department on requirements for seniors as well, so we can have some real information to move this forward.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Marianne, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I'll just say, I know Connie was doing all of her tax work, kind of like through the mail with my clients, for the last several months. So I don't know if, obviously Carol, it's breaking news. So, she can certainly maybe do some of it that way still if people don't feel comfortable going to meet her face to face.
Yeah, I guess it's just the number of people who are waiting, and primarily waiting for refunds. So,
right.
And it needs to be done by July 15th. So there's a lot of, I know that before the pandemic, they were also doing some in libraries, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. I just don't know I haven't seen her plan. I need to see her plan as well.
Right.
That was approved by AARP. So.
Okay. I just want to add, I just also kind of a breaking thing. I was talking with a client this morning. There's a program called Elder Care Clinicians. They typically visit people who are homebound to do in-home counseling for seniors. And one of my clients told me he was visited by his counselor yesterday. So I didn't know they were out and about. So that was very exciting for me to hear. Don't know if that means anything else will start opening up for seniors, but a good sign, I thought.
So that reminds me, Marianne, too. I don't know if this is helpful for anybody, but I'm still doing just like fun Zoom calls on Friday morning. But I've had a few seniors who have been calling in each week and saying they're like isolated and it's the only contact they see people each week. So if it can be a resource for anybody, we just talk about the weather and gardening and whatever. So if that's helpful, it's Friday mornings from 9 to 10.
Great. I will. I see it on the listserv there, so I will promote that. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Let's see. Danielle, I know Bruce can't make it on, but did you have any updates for schools?
So nothing major since the last week. We are obviously trying to get information out there. We did just finalize documents that are going to be going out to the voters as far as just updated budget information, a letter from the board, and what the tax worksheet is going to look like. So that will be going out. I think it went to the printers today, so people should probably receive it within the next week or so. Usually it takes about a week and a half, I think, for it to go through the whole process. So keep your eyes open for that. We are obviously trying to make sure people are aware that there are positions open, or we're hoping to have the increased board membership. So we're going to be increasing the board size, provided that the towns vote for it, from 4 to 6. And so we'll have 2 slots available, as well as 2 positions that the members are running for re-election. So right now we're trying to get people to at least fill out the consent form, which they would get from the town office. And I've been posting that to the listservs as far as resources as to where to get that form. I have heard that there's a few names flying around in Newbury and a few applications that have gone in, but I have not heard from Bradford. So if people can put the word out that we're still looking for people to be involved from Bradford, that would be great. I know it's a daunting task probably for some people to want to take on, but we're a really good, lighthearted bunch, and we are very, very excited to have more people working. So we'll be pretty patient. So please consider if you have time. And then I think that that's probably about it. We are obviously doing our informational meeting on the 23rd. And we have our next board meeting on June 10th, which that agenda will be coming out probably in the next day or 2. So I'll be posting that so people will see that, but just mark your calendars. It will be June 10th at 5 o'clock. I think that's about it.
Neil, do you have any type of like almost like job description for board members that I could post places?
Yeah, that's a great question. Marv, you could probably whip something up real quick, couldn't you? You and Paul seem to be able to market the board position better than anybody I know.
Isn't there the National School Board Association? Isn't there a list there?
Yeah, there is. I can definitely get you something.
Okay.
I was just being snarky. If you rely on an old board member or a current board member, you're liable to get some pretty iffy information as far as, oh, it's only 1 meeting a week.
Right.
It's really light. Yeah, not so much. But anyway, yeah, so I can get you something on that. And really the nice part about it is if we do increase it to 6 members, there is more of an option to sort of pick committees that you want to be more involved in, so that you're not necessarily, I mean, you're still part of the, obviously the overall board, but then you can choose some of the things that you're more apt to be involved in. So right now, as 4 board members, we're pretty much doing a little bit of everything, and it might not be right in our wheelhouse, but we have to, because that's just the way we're designed right now. So having more board members allow there to be a little bit more of picking and choosing, and being able to have some board members in the schools and doing some more of the fun stuff, as opposed to just trying to keep ourselves moving forward. So
Cool. Yeah, Marvin?
Danielle, is the informational sheet that you guys are sending out, is that going to go out independent of the ballot? And when is that going out, and when's the ballot going out, do you know?
So right now, yes, it is an independent piece of documentation. I think I got the list today as far as what it's going to include. It's going to go out. My understanding was the goal was to have it out by the 8th, so that it would be mailed by June 8th. That's the budget update information. The ballot itself, and talking with Nikki, she's hoping that they can mail out the ballot by June 10th. And so those would be coming at separate times. The goal is, you know, right now the applications for consent, the consent form is June 8th. So the earliest that they feel like they can get those names on the ballot, get the ballot printed, is probably the 10th, without, you know, overstressing the 2 town offices. But, you know, that's my understanding. I haven't spoken directly with Sonia, so I don't know what her situation is, but
That's a good, yeah.
Nikki seemed to think that the 10th was a realistic time frame.
I'll mention, I'll message Sonia too about, I know at one point Sarah Copeland had brought up the fact that many of our poll workers are elderly and might not want to risk being out. So we have plenty of people we could call on. So I'll message Sonia to see if we have that group together.
Yeah, and I've mentioned that to Nikki as well. Like, if there's things that they need as far as help for, you know, stuffing envelopes or whatever needs to happen, I think there's probably enough people that would be willing to help out. You know, as long as we know what the standards and protocols are, I think there's, you know, a lot of work that's going to need to be done. But
Patty, are the banks still available for volunteer envelope stuffing, or is that over?
Well, I can't commit because we're open now.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Okay.
we're busier.
Okay.
I told Nancy that if it's not on a time crunch, we will do it as we can. But if it's something that needs to get out immediately, I hate to commit to doing it.
Okay, I was just curious.
Sorry.
No, that's all good. Marvin?
What was I going to say? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Sorry, I lost.
Oh, no, okay. Gail, did you have anything? Oh, Danielle?
yeah, I wanted to do just one more quick plug for the schools. So next week, and I don't know how much of this has been publicized, and I have not been real good about publicizing it because I wanted to make sure that the principals sort of had that call, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. So on Monday, Newberry is doing a virtual graduation for their 6th grade. So they'll be trying to do as much as the ceremony that they normally do online. I believe Bradford is planning sort of a drive-by graduation of sorts. Those details I'm still trying to figure out. And then obviously Oxbow is planning their graduation, which also is a drive-in, and that is going to be June 12th. And then I believe they're doing a parade through town. So those are things to watch for. I don't know if more details.
Riverbend is tonight at 6 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook too.
Yep. Yeah, so just, you know, I just know, I know people are looking for those types of things, and it would be great to support the students if you can. I also know that Newberry, in addition to doing the online thing, they're also doing a parade, a car parade around the common in Newberry. So, you know, those are just things to be aware of are happening. And that's Monday at 7 and Tuesday at 7 in Newberry. So
cool. Thank you. Yeah, Marvin.
You got it. I remember.
All right.
The JO article today on the Rivendell vote was interesting. They had like 700 or 800 votes cast. they did it the same way by mail, and I think there were fewer than 40 people actually went to the polls. So just, if anything, if that follows up here, being afraid of activity at the polls, I think is probably pretty minimal.
Cool. Gail, do you have anything? I know you kind of shared, but
Yeah, no, so the library, I'm just finalizing the plan to hand off to the board for approval for a partial reopening. My biggest, one of the main reasons people I'm really trying to support is those seniors or people that don't have devices that aren't able to access the internet. And so hopefully in a couple weeks, I'll be able to open the doors for maybe 2 people with scheduled appointments to be able to come in and use our computers, so that I'm not handing my own computer out the door anymore. And other than that, construction hopefully will begin in June. I'll have more information next week, but fingers crossed that we can do some help for those folks that need, devices to use. That's it.
thanks, Gail. Let's see. Nancy, did you have anything else from mentoring you wanted to add?
So I just learned today that all students at Oxbow need to have all of their work turned in by the 9th. They need to complete their work. There's no new instructions now just catching up. So I'm contacting all the mentors who are their cheerleaders, asking them to encourage them to get their work done by the 9th. Okay. And we may have some face-to-face with masks starting soon. Okay, and if we need masks, I'll be asking you.
Yeah, no problem. Let's see. Brian, did you have it? Oh, video went dark, but I didn't know if you had anything from these sports. Okay. All right. Let's see. Churches. Carol Taylor.
The UCC deacons are meeting tonight to continue discussing opening, and Marcia Tomlinson reported that Church Council is meeting tomorrow and they plan on doing discussions. Other than that, there's nothing new.
Okay. Let's see. Housing. Marcy.
I don't have anything new, and I see there are other people that Ramsey and Linda are on, but I did want to just point out that I think that people that have been unemployed got quite a bump in their unemployment checks of about $1,000 a week, and that is going to end very soon. And so my expectation is we'll start to see difficulties with people that are still unemployed as the economy opens up. And so while the difficulties that everyone has been experiencing with isolation may start to go away, the poverty that may result long-term won't.
That's a really good point. I was wondering when those would run out. Okay. Thanks, Marcy. Sure. Ramsey and Linda?
I don't have a whole lot to update on there. There's a lot of talk about moratoriums on evictions and things like that going forward. And I was on an interesting call yesterday, different people advocating and pointing out how important it is to keep up with the extra unemployment payments and giving people enough money to pay their bills, which helps, if somebody has help paying their rent, that also helps the landlord, and that also helps the mortgage company, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of conversation, but no firm details yet on housing money that will be coming through. So we'll keep you updated. I also just wanted to say a little bit about just protocols for me as a housing counselor. I can't comment on some situations that may be referred to me in this kind of a group. So there may be information that people might expect that I could chime in on, and I can't. Yeah. I just wanted everybody to know that.
Okay.
because unless I have a specific release signed by the people I work with to speak with pretty much every single person, and as far as I know, we haven't developed any kind of release for this group. I can't update people on things, but I can say in general that there are different resources available for people, and sometimes people might choose not to avail themselves of those resources for whatever reason, and there's lots of valid reasons. So just know that there are situations that we're all working on that I might not be able to talk about.
Sure, thank you. And I don't, if it ever is helpful, the volunteer, like any of the volunteers are signing the kind of like the volunteer waivers, which do include confidentiality waivers. So if it ever is helpful for this group to do that, so that you can leverage us
Right.
at all,
You might be able to. At this point, I feel like any kind of personal information that I would share about a client, I feel like this group is too big and too general and broad for that kind of thing. It would be more of a thing where, like, I would say, I want to have someone sign a release for me to talk to the town because maybe there's something through the town. You know, it would be more, I think, on an individual basis for this kind of a group.
Yeah,
there are other groups that it might make sense for, but I don't think it makes sense for this group. But thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, totally. Linda, did you have anything you wanted to add? She might have stepped away.
She might be dealing with her newly turned 5-year-old.
No problem. Ramsey, or Linda, if you're there and can't unmute, I owe you an email and I will do that soon. Transportation, Mike didn't have anything additional. I did forward the email to everybody that he sent me from last week with the updated schedule, and then just a note that again, if there's any way they can help, because they're definitely not at capacity, then just let them know. And yeah, I guess that's it. Anybody have anything extra or questions for each other? Or cool. So I think we'll move into I think all we have for the kind of official group, I think, is mostly just an update on what happened in the last select board meeting and then approving minutes. So thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Cool. Well, we have enough. I was worried about everybody wrapping up. Okay. Yeah. So I think just minutes approving them from our last week's meeting. And I don't know if anybody needs any extra time to look at that. If not, if anybody has a motion to approve those.
So moved.
I second.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Cool. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, cool. And then I think so for commission appointments, Marcy has been appointed by the select board, and then Carol dropped off, but she submitted an application so that at the next select board meeting she'll be, so Marcy and Carol will be alternates, and there's people that aren't showing up, so they can, I assume they can vote. Marcy, you can fill in Marcia's spot, who I have emailed to remind her that she signed up for this. Okay. I think, and so let's see, the bylaws were submitted, but they needed more time to review. So I'll go on the next select board meeting just to see if they have anything. I think that I'm trying to remember, there was one thing they wanted adjusted. I can't remember. It was just basically loosening restrictions on something, but I can't remember what it is. So they said they'd make notes and just let us know if any changes.
I think it was whether or not a motion needs to be seconded.
Yeah, that's what it was. That is, yeah. So they wanted to, Ted was saying that he was thinking that a second to motions isn't required, which I know that's true of some things, but I hadn't heard that as like a blanket thing. So that we might remove that motions to be seconded in the case that we need to take action and a quorum isn't present, but I don't really know if we need to, I don't know. So they're reviewing and they'll just add all those notes and then send it back, I'm assuming. And then they approved doing the bank account. So I'm working with Patty and Jen on that. We just need minutes from the select board from when they ratified the commission in order to do the bank account. So, and they said it was okay to apply for the New England Grassroots Environmental COVID Fund grant. I think that was everything. So I don't think I have anything else unless somebody has anything. Cool.
Were you going to do the paperwork for the for that grant, Monique?
Yeah, as soon as we like have an account, because it's a really quick application. I've looked at it before. It's really quick and simple, and then just putting in like your mission and what you plan on using the money for, and then you need to put in the bank account information. So as soon as we have that, I can do it.
Did you do a motion for that?
Yeah, we did it at the 2 meetings ago, maybe for this group, and then the select board approved it at the last select board meeting.
Monique?
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the thing that Gary brought up earlier about the family.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I understand what he said. And there must be some money somewhere.
Well, and so I think what Ramsey was getting at was it sounds like Ramsey and those guys are working on it, but that there's more to it than they can tell us in this meeting. So
that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like I'm happy to try to maybe email Ramsey after just to say we're here, like that this team wants to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help, but pushing it any further than that, I don't know, because they're kind of the experts in that arena. But right. I don't know what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, and I would imagine that
doesn't the council,
since Gary did list Capstone as one of the places, that they would also connect with the Haven, which I don't think Gary had listed. So it doesn't sound like resources would be exhausted quite yet anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I've been contacted by her on occasion for emergency housing, and they have funding for that usually. So I would imagine they're usually able to deal with emergency housing issues pretty well, but it would be good to just make sure that that's happening.
Okay. Well, Nancy's at work. I'll email Ramsey and just make sure, like, say that we were concerned and we want to help if we can, but that it's kind of, they're the experts, so we'll respect their process.
And I would also think there might be some money available from the Council of Churches.
It sounded like they had already maybe talked to the churches. Yeah.
I think Carol said they already did fund them last week or the week before.
Yeah. It sounds like there's more going on there, unfortunately. Yeah, I guess anything else? Well, thanks everybody for sticking around. I don't know. I guess we need a motion to adjourn, but
I'll motion to adjourn.
all right. Ashley will second it. Thanks everybody. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks everybody.